Hi everyone, Claudia here from Light and Clarity. This week's Spirit Talk, forgive me, I'm just fixing my notes. This week's Spirit Talk, wanting to follow on a little bit along the same lines as to what I spoke about last week, which is talking about when Spirit steps forward. Last week was about people who had passed and them communicating. This week is about signs that your holy teams would leave in your path for you to notice, and perhaps what those signs may mean. However, I'm going to give you some stories regarding myself. The signs that they gave me do not necessarily mean they will mean the same thing for you. So I'm going to make that really clear when I give you these signs. So before I get into the signs, I've got two quick stories about how spirit help you. So in my own life. Many years ago, I was walking along the beach and my spirit guide came in and she said to me, there is a gift coming your way. And I was really surprised. They never speak like this. I said, oh, what gift? What's it about? And she says, it'll come in about a year's time. We don't want to reveal it. It's a lovely surprise for you. So a year later, I was, I was living in Western Australia at the time when she gave me this message, and I had been living in Western Australia about nearly 5 years at that point. A year later, we were sent pretty swiftly back home to Melbourne to live, and I had been longing to go home to Melbourne, but I couldn't see a way back home. It just wasn't an open path. But the path did open, just to make a long story short, and by surprise we were sent home back to Melbourne to live. I couldn't have been more overjoyed. I'd done 6 years in Western Australia with my family, with my children and my husband, and we were really really happy to be home. In fact, I was ecstatic for about 3 years after that, so it was really good. Another story is I was sitting in my yard and my spirit self came in and said to me, you're going to be moving through a difficult period in about 6 to 7 months. And I wasn't really a welcome revelation to hear. And I said, wow, what's this going to be about? But she wouldn't tell me. She said, you will be all right. We just want you to know you will move through it. I'm not going to give the details of what it was. It was a very deep, dark night of the soul. Something had occurred and I had to move through it. And I remember the support of my spirit self, and I had asked her, neither he nor she, but I had asked her, what are the life lessons I would learn as a result of that? What is the life lesson I would learn, and how will I be on the other side of that? And she had given me those particular details, but she hadn't given me what the subject would be of what it is that would have occurred. So when it did occur for me, and it did, 6 to 7 months later, she was correct on the timing. I knew that I would be okay, but I certainly had to walk through what it is that had presented itself. Difficult as it was, I knew I would move through it, and I did. But I was appreciating spirit's support. They do come in and support you. It is quite amazing when you can channel spirit for yourself and receive that information. And of course, if you're having a reading with someone that can give you that extra assistance to help you move through whatever it is you're moving through, spirit comes through with tools and processes. They're absolutely amazing, and they do work. I remember years ago seeing a clairvoyant, and I asked her for some assistance with a relationship, and she gave me what she saw, but she wasn't able to give me some steps to heal this relationship. I went home and I said, right, I need you to tell me how to heal this relationship. I said it to my spirit guides. They gave me the steps I needed to heal the relationship. I brought in those steps. I put those steps in. I implemented them. And about 4 months later, that relationship healed between myself and that friend. And I was really grateful, and I was annoyed that the reader couldn't have given me that. But she gave me the ability of her skills. Yeah, that was her best. And that's fine. That was a lovely lady. But yeah, I really needed to check in next time myself with spirit. But sometimes you do have a reading with others. Sometimes. I don't often. It's very rarely that I do. But yeah, and I was really grateful to have those steps that they brought in that was going to help me heal that friendship, that relationship. Getting onto my story. So I was going out for a walk in front of my home. This is going back some years ago. And these 3 beautiful, beautiful bright butterflies came and danced this close to my face. And I had never had them do that before. I'd never really had butterflies come near me that close. And they continued to dance close to my face as I went for that walk for a while. And I remember thinking, what does this mean? Thinking, oh, I don't know anybody that's passed, because sometimes that's what it means, and other times it means transformation, yeah? movement change. About a week later, I had word that somebody I knew who was an acquaintance of mine had passed. They were indirectly or directly affecting me. Directly they affect me, indirectly they didn't, but they were more of an acquaintance. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go to their funeral. So I went to their funeral. I didn't have to go, but I went to their funeral. And as I was driving out and I was driving down the road, 3 bright butterflies, the same as the other ones I'd had a week earlier, danced on my windscreen very closely, continuously dancing up and down, up and around, dance, dance, dance. And I'd never had that before. And I knew that that was the person that had passed, saying, thank you for coming. You know, you certainly weren't obligated, but I really appreciate you being there. And I just yelled out, no problem, you're all welcome. And those butterflies continued to dance for a fair while as I was driving down the highway. And I was surprised that they were able to stay at that speed, because I was going fairly quickly, at the speed limit, but fairly quickly. The second one happened to me some time ago, and I never mentioned it, which is fine, but I'm just mentioning it for the sake of the story. So much earlier this year, I was feeling rather warm and I decided to step outside. It was early morning, about 9:30. I stepped outside and my car is parked directly in front of my front door. And on the front of my car, the bonnet of my car, there was 2 massive, large feathers that were strategically placed on the front of my bonnet, side by side, this width apart, in alignment with each other. Now, I don't have a lot of birds in my yard. I can certainly hear them, but I don't have feathers or birds in my yard. I have a dog, and I don't have any birds in my front yard. There are never any feathers anywhere. So I thought, where on earth did these come from? They were very specific feathers. They were very big. They were wide. They were in alignment. And I went, oh no, what does this one mean? I stepped inside and I said to Spirit, as I was walking to my computer and to my office, due to do a client within 30 minutes, I said, what does this mean? And they said to me, big change is coming. And I said, what big change? And they didn't answer me. They repeated again, there is big change coming. About 15 minutes later, the phone rang and the hospital was on the line. And a loved one of mine was going to pass. Now, I knew they'd been admitted about the day before, but they were conscious and fine. But the doctor rang and said, you know, I have one of your relatives here with this loved one, and we are going to tell you that they will not live. They've got about 3 hours. And I was like, you've got to be joking. And I knew that's what the feathers were about. So I cancelled my client, and luckily I only had one that day, miracle. And I explained, you know, there's a big emergency. I hightailed it to the hospital, and I held their hand and I helped them to pass. And it was quite an emotional day. And that day I came home and I had some emails from clients, and I sat down, and they were not in a good state, those clients, so I emailed them back. They were regulars of mine who were due to have some sessions with me and had already had sessions with me, and they needed some more assistance, and we're going to have some further sessions with me already booked in. So I wanted to assist them, and I had to put my grief to the side. But I knew that those feathers had come in, and they were very good spirited, hiding that this person wasn't going to live, because I didn't know that they were going to pass. Because if I had known, I wouldn't have been able to work, because they were fairly close to me. So it happened. So they were the signs that were brought through. They're not the most uplifting stories, I apologise. But there are some of the stories that I wanted to pass on for today. As I said to you, in me giving you these stories, these signs don't necessarily mean that that's what it's going to mean for you. But when you do ask for a sign from Spirit, they will come in with one. I wouldn't ask for a specific sign. I would say, I need a sign that this is the right place, or that this is the right person, or that this is going to be one of the right decisions that I need to make regarding this. They will come in and they will give you a sign. I remember looking for a daycare for my son when he was 4, and I said to the archangels, I need you to give me a sign. I went to 3 daycare centres. I said, I need you to give me a sign. Which one is the right one? The first one I knew was just not right. The second one I thought, yeah, there's a big chance of this one. I think that's okay. Yep. I'll just check out this third one. When I walked in, there was a statue of an angel right there at the front door. And I went, this is the place, before they even opened their mouths. I walked up to the reception. I said, hi, I'm here to check out your daycare. They took me around and I loved it. Loved it. Way better than the second one. And the staff were angelic. They were beautiful. And I knew that was the right place for my son. He was going in, I think, 1 or 2 days a week at that point. So when you're asking for signs, trust that they will bring it in. Don't be specific about it. Ask for a sign when you're needing it. So you would call in the archangels of the light. They are high vibrational. I love working with the Ascended Masters. I appreciate my spirit guides. They're very close to me. But I've been told the archangels are quite high vibrational. I've had this conversation with Ascended Master Jesus, and he says your spirit guides are important. They are quite grounded. The masters are as well, but the angels are higher in vibration. So I do ask the archangels to bring in specific signs to do with certain decisions I need to make. Do I go with this one? Do I go with that one? Always follow your intuition, and spirit will put the signs outside of you when you have asked. Look for those signs to do with those situations as to what to do when you have asked for a sign to be brought in. And ask for a miracle from the Creator to be brought in, that this be resolved. I have used that time and time again, that prayer to God. And what I have needed has come in miraculously within days. Within days. All right. Many blessings. I'll connect with all of you again soon. Thanks, everyone.